how could the 2026 NFL Draft look this upcoming April? The season's about to start for the NFL and college football, so we wanted to get in our final mock draft of the preseason. Folks, make sure you hit that subscribe button and also comment below, who do you want to see your favorite team draft? Ryan, we just did a collaborative mock draft on the written side. We decided to do a fresh one as well on the video side for the Film Room channel. I couldn't be more excited of doing 2 mock drafts with my best friend. It couldn't be a better experience this week. Let's try not to kill each other. But I throw it over to you to start us off, because I typically have the first overall pick.
No, man. I'm excited about it, because I always hate the way too early mock drafts, but now that I have like a pretty good detailed understanding of this class, I don't mind mock drafts when I actually am not throwing BS at the wall, right? And just like making things up. Like, I like that I have a thorough understanding of it. So I'm very happy to do this. New Orleans Saints to kick things off, Joe, and this is not our prediction. This is mock draft databases. I'm assuming this is probably Super Bowl odds. I would assume for I
believe
odds.
so.
I don't know, but either way, New Orleans Saints. You took Tyler Shuck with the 40th overall selection, so you did have a slight investment there. But But it is not to the level of an investment that you would look away at a quarterback as the number 1 overall pick if you were bad enough to get the number 1 overall pick, right? So I'm going to take a quarterback. I am going to maintain this, Joe. Just going to maintain here. I'm not going to take Arch Manning, because I just don't really think...
Yeah, no Arch. This is an Arch-free mock draft.
I am doing Arch-free mock drafts until we have some indication and some intel that Arch is actually going to seriously consider entering the 2026 NFL draft. So with that in mind, I'm going with LaNorris Sellers, who is my quarterback 1 out of South Carolina. There are a lot of different types of quarterbacks in this class. There's some guys that are pure pocket passers, some guys that are good mixture, some guys that are dual threats, some guys that are RPO heavy systematically. But like, I really just love the upside of LaNorris Sellers, 6'3", 242 pounds. He's got a very strong arm. He showed a lot of growth as a passer throughout the 2024 season down the stretch. And he's a dynamic athlete. So I will take the gamble on the upside there. He's not a finished product, but you should not be a finished product at 20 years old in the SEC a year ago.
Yeah, it's complete opposite of the Shuck approach. At the end of the day, the Shuck situation reminds me of Davis Mills, where he's a guy that was drafted in the 2nd round for the Texans, but that didn't stop them from drafting C.J. Stroud not long after picking him. So I'm all for this. I gave LaNorris Sellers to the Saints in our collaborative mock draft. He's a very talented player with a group of guys that have traits. At the end of the day, it would not surprise me to see the guy that is the most athletically gifted end up being the 1st overall pick. For the 2nd overall pick for the Cleveland Browns, I know that they drafted Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders. We don't need to relitigate their allocation of resources towards 2 quarterbacks, but if they're picking 2nd overall, it means it was a bad season. Assuming that Gabriel and Shedeur, and I feel like that they should and will give them opportunities to play this year to determine, are either of these guys good and can we build around them? This will be a spot where they're going to be drafting a quarterback. I am going to go with Cade Klubnik. I think that we could also have the discussion of Fernando Mendoza as well, but it makes the most sense to me here with Klubnik of the prototypical 2nd overall pick. Former 5-star, number 1 quarterback in his class. He's quite mobile for his build. He's got plus arm strength, not elite arm strength. He's shown decisiveness and aggressiveness. And then I always think that one of the most undertalked about things for quarterback prospects is, do you show me a year-by-year progression and growth and improvement? Because if you grow over college, your stats improve, you become a better decision maker, you become more reactive. That, to me, means that you will improve when you get to the NFL. Does not mean said player will become an all-pro because he shows growth and improvement. There is a ceiling at a certain point, but I think that Cade Klubnik is a presentable option that would be great for them.
Shedeur Sanders, Dillon Gabriel, and Cade Klubnik in a room together is going to be fireworks.
And
Joe.
Joe Flacco.
Absolute fireworks. Very interesting. Not to belabor the points, but you did have Fernando Mendoza go number 2 overall in our written mock draft, which is interesting. So there we go. 2 different quarterback options on the board. Number 3 overall, Tennessee Titans. They need edge help about as much as any team in the NFL. You could argue that is one of the worst position groups overall in the entire league, Joe. I mean, you could do it right now because they're praying that Femi Oladejo could do something as a rookie, which is probably somewhat unlikely. And they have guys like Arden Key and like it's Draymond Jones. It's a mismatch, not a mismatch, a mishmash. Is that a word? That's a word, right?
Yes,
mishmash.
I believe it's a word.
They have a mishmash of weird veterans and hopeful high ceiling rookie in Femi. So I'm going to give them an edge. I am actually going to go because I think he's listed as a defensive lineman on this database. I'm going to go with Keldric Faulk out of Auburn. 6'6", 288 pounds. They like the big body edges for this team. They obviously signed Draymond Jones. And they've been really prioritizing length and physicality on the edge. I think Keldric brings that in that position in general, but then he also has the size profile, similarly Greg Rousseau, to be able to reduce down and rush the quarterback from the inside as well. So Keldric Faulk, Tennessee Titans.
All right, New York Giants. Has to be an offensive lineman in the spot. You
did this on purpose, by the way. You did this on purpose.
I realized that it was unintentional. I don't know how I keep picking for the Giants. They have to go offensive line here. There's been an aggressive investment into their defense. We know that, at least at the current moment, Jackson Dart has shown enough where they're not going to come to the end of the 2025 season and think, oh my God, we have to move on from this guy. It's going to at least, as he showed some bright spots, it is going to be at least a multi-year testing period. Doesn't mean, though, that if things don't hit the wall, I think that Daniel Jones is a sobering moment for that ownership group, that it makes them realize, hey, if this doesn't work out, we need to move on much sooner instead of just really dragging it out way longer. But again, I have high hopes for Dart. Giving him protection makes the most sense when you're picking this high. Spencer Fano is an interesting projection here because he is a right tackle, and he would plug in, and his skill set, I think, would work very, very well for what they would need opposite of Andrew Thomas. But I am a fan of Drew Shelton, as you have put me on to him. I think instead of going with Lomu, who is a left tackle, I think he's more of a pure left tackle. I'd much rather keep him at left tackle. I think that Drew Shelton's underrated power profile gives him an opportunity to be a real high-impact right tackle and step in right away. You compared him to Christian Darrisaw. I think that is the type of guy that they need to move on from the huge mistake that was drafting Evan Neal.
Yeah, I mean, you fill the right tackle spot, and then also Andrew Thomas has been, unfortunately, injured a lot in his career. So I think that kind of helps raise the floor of that group. So I like that selection. The New York Jets, Joe, quarterback, of course, because again, you're a top 10 pick here. Justin Fields, you're giving that a shot for a year, but I just don't necessarily think that that's going to be a long-term solution, obviously. So I'm going to give him Fernando Mendoza out of Indiana. Quite simply, Joe, there's going to be some people that are going to argue Garrett Nussmeier. There's going to be some people, misguided people, I should add, that are going to argue Drew Aller, and that's totally fine. Yep. I am going to opt for potentially a huge breakout for Fernando Mendoza. He showed a lot at Cal. Can he show it now in the Big Ten Conference on a more consistent basis? 6'4", plus, 220 pounds, has enough athleticism, but he is a pure pocket quarterback that can move inside of structure. Fernando Mendoza as the future for the New York Jets.
The Panthers have been a really tricky team to draft for in these mock drafts because you'd think maybe go edge, but they just drafted 2 pass rushers that have a lot of potential. So I'm going to hold off from trying to add more to their defensive line. I think offensively, their offensive line's solid. Their receiving room, there's been an aggressive investment, so I think it would be ridiculous for them to draft a receiver in this class of all classes that early. For me, my attention then goes to, would they consider drafting one of the top corners? And you and I are very big fans of Jermod McCoy. He could be considered to be the highest rated prospect in this class. I think if you throw McCoy opposite of J.C. Horn, you're creating a comically good secondary with a defensive line that has a lot of potential. And then that kind of allows you in the second, third round or whatever to draft another weapon of a pass rusher just to bolster the group. It might hurt them not having a premier guy, but there are some very unique bodies amongst that pass rush. I'm going to go with McCoy instead.
Some people are going to look at that and be like, is that really the biggest need? But I think you put it perfectly in our
what
written
is
mock.
the biggest need, though, for them? Because they've drafted so many young guys at so many different positions where the verdict's not out on if said young players are the answer for those positions. It would be really impatient to try and draft any other position. And do they go quarterback too? I don't think that necessarily would happen. There's just too many questions to be answered because of how much youth is on this team.
Does it feel like there's actually some positivity around the Panthers going into the season? Like, I feel like a lot of people think they may outperform compared to where some people think they are. I mean, because if they're picking here, it's like, okay, Bryce Young.
I don't think they're going to be picking this high. That at the end of the day is I think there's going to be other messy teams that are going to be picking a lot higher than that. It's fair.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. They're one of the teams that I feel like could either bottom out completely with Bryce Young, or they could be like a competing for wild card ish status type of team. Like, they're very, very strange team. Indianapolis Colts. You want to talk about the worst case scenario? The quarterback run happened early, and Joe, they probably would have loved Jermod McCoy to have been on the board, because they have right now their starting corners are Trevarius Ward, who's been obviously injured over the last couple years, and Jalen Jones, who I like Jalen Jones, but I mean, you could still upgrade over him potentially at corner. So Jermod McCoy being off the board and the quarterback run starting early is horrible for this team. I'm actually kind of overthinking it in my head of like, I think I might change the rules and just take Arch Manning because I can, but I'm not going to. But I hate this selection, man. I hate it right now. They don't need interior defensive line help. They have a very good interior defensive line with Grover Stewart and DeForest Buckner. They just drafted Laiatu Latu not too long ago in the first rounds. God, this sucks.
There are really no good options here. And the thing is, for anyone who wants to go, like, why wouldn't they go Drew Aller? Why would they, besides that, though, teams swing in opposite directions after they make mistakes. They're not going to pick the really raw, toolsy guy that needs work and development after they just completely missed on the guy who was it actually would even shock me if they don't consider being an aggressive team in free agency or in the trade market to go and get a quarterback because they don't want to try again and make another mistake. So I'm gonna skip on quarterback just because I'm gonna assume that they get a quarterback in a different spot. And I mean, look, dude, I think I've said this on the show, roster
Joe.
Too.
It's not a horrible roster, and I've said this before, Joe. The more I've watched Garrett Nussmeier, the more I've liked him more than I thought I would, but I don't like him top 10 still, right? Like, I am not Garrett Nussmeier top 10 guy at all. I'm just not. So I'm going to go edge help here. I'm just going to, take me to edge real quick, and let me just make sure I'm not like overthinking this. I think he might actually be listed as a defensive lineman. I'm going to go with TJ Parker. I'll just go with TJ Parker because I know Kwity Paye has not been great so far in his career. So I'm going to strengthen the defensive line. We now have Laiatu Latu, TJ Parker, Grover Stewart, and DeForest Buckner. The key to winning football games in the NFL is to be good at quarterback and to affect quarterbacks, right? And affecting quarterbacks sounds pretty good now, adding a TJ Parker.
All right, picking up speed here on the mock draft. Yeah. Christian Wilkins, former Clemson defensive tackle, dramatic exit with the Raiders. Raiders very badly need some interior defensive line help to free up the talented pass rush that they have. So let's go with Peter Woods, another Clemson defensive tackle. They would end up having potentially one of the most disruptive defensive lines in the AFC if Peter Woods plays to the potential that we're projecting for him. So I love the thought of throwing him into the mix.
So after taking Cade Klubnik with the first round pick for the Cleveland Browns at number 2 overall, we are going to protect him now, Joe. We're going to go to offensive tackle. There's a question of Caden Proctor versus Spencer Fano versus Francis Mawanoa versus Caleb Lomu versus Isaiah World. There's a lot of interesting ones here. I'm actually going to go with a guy that I think is liked by some but undervalued by others. I'm going to go with Caleb Lomu, the offensive tackle out of Utah, 6'6", 304 pounds, only a redshirt sophomore. So I'm expecting a little bit of a jump here from a physicality strength perspective, but that kid is long and he's super athletic, and they need a left tackle right now because their starting left tackle going into the year is DeJuan Jones. So we need left tackle help.
The Dolphins secondary is complete and utter buns. There is no young talent for them to be like, okay, that guy is going to turn into a real franchise cornerstone. It's one
Jason Marshall Jr.
Just insane. I like Jason Marshall, man, but the problem is that he should be in a different role than what he is projected to be playing in this upcoming season. That secondary can get fixed. And the way that they fix it is by getting a dude who's going to be clamps on the outside. Will Lee, the third from Texas A&M, tall, long, physical, fluid hips. He has the build to become a lockdown corner in the NFL. The way that you fix your secondary is by going with one of the more athletically gifted players at the position. And more importantly, this is a great corner class, so they could even double dip. They could go a guy here and then in the second round, third round, come back and get another corner and still end up putting together a pretty formidable group.
People are going to hate that selection. I'm just going to let you know
Why?
now. Because it might be a little bit early for Will Lee, and they're going to look at Caleb Downs on the board, and they're going to be like, why are we taking Will Lee over Caleb Downs?
Wait, but they got Minka.
I'm just telling you what's going to happen.
But they brought back Minka. I don't think that makes sense, though, for them to go with Minka and Caleb Downs. I don't know. That one would be tricky for me.
I'm just telling you that there is going to be some
dudes playing the same role.
It's going to be some.
I'm not doing. If Miami fans push back on that one, I'm going to tell them to learn ball.
Yeah, tell them that, please.
Right,
please tell them that. That's hilarious.
Patriots, what do you got?
Patriots. Drake May showed a lot of promise as a rookie. They got Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs is nearing the end here, though, and they need continued wide receiver help. I'm going to give him Jordan Tyson. Probably a touch high compared to where I would like to take him, but he's a 3-level separator with a lot of long speed to create big plays down the field, and that should go well with Drake May and the deep ball that he has.
Okay, I truly believe I like that. Love that pick, by the way. I truly believe this is where we're going to start causing problems. I think that if the Rams are picking this early, that they're going to need to wait. In our collaborative,
this is from the trade. They have 2 first-round picks because they traded with the Falcons, right?
Yes.
Who
did you give the Rams that first-round pick
Sonny
in the collaborative
Styles.
mock that we did?
Sonny Styles.
Okay. I think that if they have this pick this early, to me that they're going to not want to miss on the opportunity to find the future of their quarterback situation. Stafford is aged. They need to find a solution. I don't know if Sam Levitt declares, but I feel like his skill set would be very unique for what we know that Sean McVay likes. He's got a solid arm. He's a very impactful athlete. I'm going to go with Sam Levitt here. I think that we would be getting a future path to build if maybe you get one more year out of Matthew Stafford that he can sit and then eventually you transition. Or they apparently love Jimmy Garoppolo to the degree that maybe you start Jimmy Garoppolo next season and then you move on to Sam Levitt.
Hey man, did you see Stetson Bennett throw for 3 bills in the last preseason game, man? That's the future right there. Stetson
Settle down.
Seattle Seahawks, very strange situation. Sam Darnold, obviously, as quarterback that came over this offseason after they offloaded Geno Smith to the Las Vegas Raiders. You could argue that maybe quarterback could be in play potentially. But Joe, I'm going to go... Oh, man, actually, I hate that. But I'm going to go offensive tackle, okay? Take me to the offensive tackle board because they still have a major hole at right tackle, which I'm going to hopefully remedy here. And I'm going to give him Spencer Fano, the offensive tackle out of Utah. He is the starting right tackle for the team. I think the Seahawks just in general want to get the best 5 offensive linemen on the field, as most teams ultimately do. Fano, I think, has enough athleticism to stay on offensive tackle, and I think he also has the frame and the projection in the run game to potentially be a guard as well. So if you want to get your best 5 on the field, I think Fano can provide some versatility and upside there.
All right, we've got Cardinals up here, and the Cardinals are another team where they've got a lot of investment of young players at key positions.
Caleb Downs.
I don't love their
Caleb Downs.
But
actually, no, they have safeties, don't they? They have Buddha. They have Jalen Thompson still, maybe.
Well,
yeah.
Why don't we bolster their pass rush by throwing in a guy like LT Overton's too similar to Walter Nolan. Oh man, this is where things start to get a little.
He's a little bit more of an edge. I mean, he could play on the edge though. I mean, still. I mean, I'm just talking out loud. I really don't care what you do, but yeah.
I'm trying to think if there's like any stand-up rushers, knowing the way that they use their front. I don't know why. I feel like we're missing somebody here that's in this. Oh no, R. Mason Thomas that early might be like. Do you think it's too early for R. Mason Thomas?
I mean, my answer is
no.
You
and I really like him.
My answer is no, but also people are not going to like it. So I mean, it's up to you.
This will age well. I get because the front that they run, I think that having a more stand-up rusher is better for them. I don't like the thought of Ruben Bain in that front. I don't like the idea of Mateo Uyunglele in that front. I don't like the idea of Denai Dennis Sutton in that front. Those to me don't make a lot of sense. R. Mason Thomas is going to be a big riser. Yeah, I really think, and we both have agreed, that R. Mason Thomas will be a rapid riser. And if you don't agree with me, folks, I'm sorry. You will see as the season progresses. The NFL really likes him too, by the way. So there is going to be a progression where I think more people are going to be exposed to who he is.
So, Joe, you know that Jeremiyah Love to Dallas is a very chalky pick at this point, okay? But I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. Okay, this is why. How the heck is Peter Woods still on the board here? How has this happened?
No, he's not on the board.
Who drafted Peter Woods? I didn't draft Peter Woods.
The Raiders.
You drafted Peter Woods. Oh, dang. Forget it then. Forget it. We're going to go chalk then. Let's go Jeremiyah Love, running back from Notre Dame. Let's go with the chalky pick.
You don't want to go Caleb Banks?
No, I don't. I do not want to go Caleb Banks. He's
coward.
Dude, they need more of like a nose type, right? Like a little bit more of a bigger bot. I mean, Caleb Banks can do it, but like I'd rather have Caleb Banks the penetrator than Caleb Banks the two gapper. Like that's not really what I want his design to be. Jeremiyah Love. Look, Dallas needs running back help. They have now for two drafts, including this one, right? And I think that he is a home run threat anytime he touches the football in the run or the pass game. So. Yep, sending Jeremiyah Love down to Dallas to play in Jerry World. Let's do it.
All right, I'm going to do a pick
Kale
that
Downs.
Neither of us are.
Kale Downs.
No, I'm going to do a pick here
Downs.
that they have to draft a quarterback. Ryan, they have to. The Steelers have to draft a quarterback.
Why?
Who is their next quarterback after
Aaron
Rodgers?
Rodgers.
He's clearly
Aaron
not.
Rodgers.
He's clearly going to retire at the end of this year. They need to draft somebody. I'm going to go with a pick that we both are going to hate, but I think that is the more realistic thing to happen in this spot. I'm going to go with Drew Aller, quarterback out of Penn State. You and I are not high on him. He has a lot of issues with his instincts and his decision-making that we are not fans of, but
really selling it.
He is a physically gifted young man. Somebody is going to talk themselves into picking him. So I think that it is... I don't want to do a mock draft where he doesn't end up in the first round. And I think the team that takes him is going to be the more desperate team and a team that is looking to have some sort of spark to look forward to, that like, hey, this guy is in the wings. We don't need to start him right away. He's very gifted. We're going to develop him. I also think that after they went with the Kenny Pickett failure, that the high floor guy results in them going in the opposite direction. Let's go with the higher ceiling guy. So I'm going to go with Drew Aller. I don't want to get caught with the BS of how did he end up falling out of the first round. I think that he is more likely to go in the first than Garrett Nussmeier is.
I actually don't know if I agree with that, but we'll see what happens.
Dude,
I mean,
he is the epitome of one team just completely talking themselves into big, strong, big arm, a couple of flash plays on film.
He is the cliche. Game. He's the cliche. I agree that he is the cliche. I just think Nussmeier's better than him, though. I just think Nussmeier's
I agree.
Than him,
I agree. But I'm trying to be a little predictive here. I know that we didn't establish if it was predictive or based on what our analysis is, but that is my one predictive pick. Yeah.
Chicago. I'm taking Caleb Downs, Joe. I'm letting the slide stop here. I think Caleb Downs could go a little bit higher than this, but not a ton higher than this. They have Jaquan Brisker and they have Kevin Byard as their safeties. Kevin Byard is on the downtrot, to say the least, last couple years, and Jaquan Brisker keeps getting injured. So we'll get Caleb Downs as a healthy safety to add to that room for Chicago. And honestly, Chicago doesn't have a crazy amount of holes in that roster. I think that is a team that, as long as Caleb Williams is good, they could really start to trend upward over the next couple of years.
I think for me with the Vikings, as we move on to this next pick, I think that this team has a lot of talent. I think one of the easy ones that people talk about is how they might go safety. I don't love the safeties that are on the board at the current moment. You could maybe talk yourselves into Kamari Ramsey, but I'm going to go with Caleb Banks. I think that this defensive line has improved vastly. I don't know if Brian Flores will still be there if he doesn't get a head coaching opportunity, but I think that he's a guy who values the talent in the trenches. We have talked about how Caleb Banks has Chris Jones talent written all over him. Now imagine Dallas Turner gets to his potential and he develops, and you've got Caleb Banks in there. That is the type of unit that is going to be impossible to move the ball against and also will cause headaches for quarterbacks.
They also just traded Harrison Phillips, right, this offseason. So
yes, that was the other one in the back of my head. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So Houston Texans offensive line, Joe, we have to do it. I mean, it's just it is what it is. This offensive line's in such a bad spot. Take me to the offensive tackles first, and then I want to see something real quick, if you don't mind. So Caden Proctor, Francis Mauanoa, Isaiah World. Can you go to interior offensive lineman for me real quick as well? Just want to make sure I'm covering my whole bases here. All right, go back to offensive tackle. We are going to take
Connor
Isaiah.
Lew pick actually is kind of sexy.
Fun.
Go ahead.
Connor Lew's fun, but like, who the heck is the left tackle on this team? Who is it? I don't. They don't have a left tackle.
Yeah, they came out that Cam Robinson
is on the trade block or whatever. They're trying to trade
they're
him.
not satisfied with Cam Robinson.
Wow,
which is
shocker! There's such a shocking turn of events that Cam Robinson's
is it Cam Robinson or is it Cam Robinson? Or am I mixing him up? Okay,
no, it was Cam Robinson. Yeah, they picked him up this offseason.
There's
for
that
like
archetype of really mediocre, like former top 50 offensive linemen that just keep getting passed around that I keep mixing up. So it was Cam Robinson.
So Francis Mauanoa, I think, is a very interesting pick, but I don't think he's a left tackle. Obviously, he plays right tackle. I think he probably is a better inside at guard. I actually do like him at guard. I feel like some people are kind of slandering him a little bit too much. I think in tight quarters he's pretty fun, dude. He's strong as hell. So I don't mind Mauanoa at all. I'm not a big Proctor guy, and again, I don't know if he's a pure left tackle on the NFL level, but I do think Isaiah World from Oregon's a left tackle on the NFL level. So I'm going to take Isaiah World. The Nevada transfer, length, foot quickness, lot to like there. He's not the physical presence that those other two are as far as like pure power. But if we win a guy that'd be a blindside protector, I think that World is the best bet there.
I've got a controversial pick here for the Broncos. Not who they're picking in terms of the position, but who they'll go with in this spot. I really think knowing Sean Payton's offensive success has been derived from having an uber athletic, explosive tight end. I think that they want where they'd be picking in the spot with some of these other positions thinning out on the board, that this would be a chance for them to find that young, talented tight end to build around. You've got Evan Ingram, and tight ends are usually this is one thing that's I think forgotten, is that tight ends are not guys that typically hit the ground running as rookies. So you've got Evan Ingram on the deal that you have him on. Eventually, as his deal comes up, it gives you the chance for whatever player you take here to eventually take over. I'm going to go with Kenyon Sadiq. I like Sadiq's explosiveness and his athleticism. It's comical what he was able to do, and the fact that he didn't play more last year was so frustrating to me when I was watching his film, because I'm like pulling my hair out. I'm thinking like, oh my God, like wait, I really truly wish that this kid was getting more snaps and was touching the ball more. The other thing too that was a pleasant surprise for me, and when we do our tight end show, we're going to talk about this. Dude's got some grip, man. He's more of a willing blocker than you would think that he is for a player who's not on the field very often. So I like this pick, dude. I think that this could be the next Sean Payton super productive tight end.
He's got some grits. So you're replacing Evan Ingram with Evan Ingram.
Better Evan Ingram didn't like the block, man. He was soft as all hell.
Yes. So this is an interesting one. I think edge is one spot that pops up quickly to me with Tampa Bay. Obviously, David Walker's out for the year, and then they got Shaq Barrett back, right? Or no, they got Hassan Reddick for like a year, right, to kind of bolster their pass rush. But I don't necessarily love the pass rush board, I believe, that is there right now. So, Joe, let's go to linebacker here. I think it's our first linebacker of the draft so far. Okay, first linebacker of the draft. I'm going to go with C.J. Allen from Georgia here. I have toyed with Sonny Styles versus C.J. Allen because they're such different football players, and depending on what team you want to draft, wants to draft them, I think there is a very interesting debate between the space oriented athletic freak of Sonny Styles, or the more traditional Mike linebacker in CJ Allen that also has range working from the inside. So I'm going to go with CJ Allen. I think that team desperately needs a communicator on the inside, especially with the long term once Levante David is out of there, even though they're much different players. So I'll take CJ Allen as the voice of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense for the foreseeable future.
Love that. I now am enticed to go with a linebacker, knowing Jim Harbaugh loves to have talented linebackers in his defense. Sonny Styles still on the board, as you just mentioned there. Am I missing that there's any interior, like inside linebackers that they have that would keep them from making this pick? Junior Colson hasn't exactly lived up to.
Well, he's hurt too. He's
Yeah.
been hurt the last 2 years.
Right.
So I mean,
right.
Don't they have Henley, right? Don't they have Diane Henley? Diane Henley's pretty good.
Well, does that stop them from not having a linebacker core of Diane Henley and Sonny Styles?
I mean, maybe not. Depends. Yeah. Depends
on
your
deployment.
pick, man. Don't ask me.
Okay, I'm just trying to talk it through. I am
okay.
going to go with Sonny Styles here. I think that knowing the importance of the front seven for them, having you could have also gone offensive line here, but having that degree of athleticism at linebacker is something that feels it's been always valued by Harbaugh. Back to when he was the 49ers, to every step of the way, having talented linebackers who can be defensive weapons, I think is huge for this team.
Okay, can you go to the edge room for the Green Bay Packers for me, if you may?
Assuming there's no Micah Parsons trade.
Sorry, I was just thinking about
I don't like any of these guys for their what they. Well, I think we should talk corner. Let's talk corner. They just got rid of Jair
Show me who
Alexander.
the corners are. I don't think the corner board is great for this spot. Is my thing. Like
What about AJ Harris?
He's just a little bit early, man. I don't know. I'm going to go with Denai Dennis Sutton. Just give me Denai Dennis Sutton, the edge out of Penn State. They like the long, physically put together edges. He's over 6'5". He's 265 pounds. He's got at least 33 and a half inch arms, potentially closer to 34. I forget what the exact measurement is there. He's a little bit of a developmental guy, but I think he took a nice step down the stretch of the season. Right now, they have Rashawn Gary, who has been good, but has been banged up a little bit. Lucas Van Ness has not been good so far in his NFL career. Kingsley Enagbare, solid rotational player. Brenton Cox Jr., solid rotational player. They need a more high upside pass rusher to add to that group, so I'm going to give them Denai Dennis Sutton.
My focus for the Commanders here, I believe that they want to build up the weaponry. They just gave Terry McLaurin his new contract, but I would argue that you have to look ahead to the future considering his age. So adding a third receiver into the mix to grow and develop in that room and then eventually to be the primary target is something that intrigues me. You could go Carnell Tate to get the Ohio State bit going on, but I'm going to go with Eric Singleton Jr. I think that they need some shifty, explosive speed amongst that current grouping. I think he fits very nicely. You don't have a guy with this much. You have juice in your receiving room, but I think that Singleton now provides impactful juice where he could be an 1,000-yard plus receiver in the NFL with a guy who's distributing the ball as talented as Jaden Daniels is.
It's very interesting. Very interesting. The wide receiver born after Jordan Tyson, I think, is just a pick your flavor type, right? Like, do you like Chris Bell? Do you like Eric Singleton? Do you like Carnell Tate? It really is going to depend on just what the style is that you're looking for there. Cincinnati Bengals, we have to take defense, Joe. We have to take defense. Can you show me the interior defensive line board real quick, if you don't mind? I just don't love how that looks right this second.
What about Dominic Orange?
No, we're not going to. Why are you so Dominic Orange first round guy already? Like, why are you that guy? I'm top 100.
I don't know,
Dominic
man.
Orange,
You don't think that he won't be a riser? You don't think?
He's a riser. He's gonna be a top 100 pick. I mean, first round for a true nose.
He ain't even on here.
No, he's like 280 something. Keep going.
Wow,
He's like
that's bad.
He's way down there. I'm gonna go with a pick that Cincinnati Bengals fans probably won't like, but it's fine. I don't care. Kamari Ramsey, safety from USC, is a guy that I absolutely
they're gonna
adore.
be pissed.
That's fine, dude. I'm pretty sure I gave the Kamari Ramsey in our written mock as well. I don't care. I don't care. I know there was interest in Xavier Watts this past year, and they just they chose to go a different route there. That kid Ramsey has enough athleticism and range to play from depth. He has enough physicality to play closer to the box, and he has also fluid hips that I think he might not be elite at anything, but he's good at everything, man. And I think that kid is a plus starting safety in the NFL very early on in his career. So give me Kamari Ramsey.
Okay, so now for the 49ers, they had this aggressive investment of drafting all these defensive linemen. So I think that it would be odd for them to go defensive line again this year. Their offensive line's not great, but actually with that in mind...
They are hopeful. Obviously, Troy Fautanu was hurt last year. He's going to be starting at right tackle. They are hopeful that Broderick Jones is comfortable now at left tackle.
Wait.
Aren't you doing Steelers?
The 49ers.
I'm sorry. I was doing the Steelers. My bad. No. Right tackle's an issue. Colton McKivitz and then Trent Williams is obviously old as hell at left tackle. Yeah.
I'm going to go with Mauigoa because he does present some Maui, you're probably right.
Yeah.
Presents a little versatility. So you bring him in. If he looks good in camp at tackle, you play him at tackle. If he looks better at guard, you could play him at guard. Let's go with bolstering the offensive line and protecting that extremely expensive investment.
All right. So first pick, you gave the Rams a quarterback, right? If I remember correctly, they had a quarterback.
Yes,
correct?
I gave them Levitt.
You gave them Sam Levitt. Oh man, I think Rams fans are going to hate that too, but I actually don't hate it. I think that there's some value to be said there. The Rams are a team that I think do need to invest on the second and third levels potentially. Corner is in the cards. Let me see linebacker real quick though. Real quick if you don't mind for linebacker. Oh yeah, we already took Sonny Styles, right? No, we're not taking Anthony Hill Jr. No. I would pull my hair out of my head. Corner. Let's go to corner. I'm going to go with AJ Harris. Yeah, I'll go with AJ Harris. Okay. He is a physical corner out of Penn State. The game needs to slow down a little bit after only being a one-year starter, but I think he has the requisite size, athleticism to play in multiple systems and coverage variations. I do like AJ Harris here, especially like in the back end of the first round. I think it makes sense.
What the hell do I do with the Chiefs? This is one of those teams where I don't really... I'm going to fight you. I'm absolutely going to fight you. Man, this is tricky because they're reworking their offensive line. Okay, can we go tight end? Do we think that would be egregious for them to go tight end after they drafted Wiley 2 years ago?
Yeah, you drafted
That's
Wiley
and then position.
You know who made the team apparently that was really good this preseason was Brenningstool, man. Apparently Brenningstool did a lot of good stuff for the Chiefs this offseason. But I mean, yeah, you can go tight end if you want. I mean, tight end or a sneaky pick is, and it depends on Isaiah Pacheco, but like they could be a running back team as well.
Yeah. Let's go Nick Singleton. That's a total Chiefs pick. Let's go Nick Singleton. Pacheco's not the long-term answer at running back. He's fine.
You don't think so? Him. He's a good player.
Well, because he's been so banged up and he's got the super hard running style, and it's very clear that the minute that he was out, there was a little bit of juice taken out of their run game, and their offense wasn't completely juiceless because you got Mahomes and you got all that speed. But let's go with a true speedster in Singleton, who we know has the build to take the brunt of the load of a primary back's workload. So I'm gonna go with Singleton there.
Detroit Lions, pass rush no matter what to go along with Aiden Hutchinson. Their interior defensive line, Tyleik Williams. They have Aleem McNeil. That's a really good front. They just need one pass rusher to be able to help Aiden Hutchinson to get a little bit more one-on-one opportunities. And it's not a great board for that, right? Like, I mean, you're betting on upside with a lot of these guys, which I'm okay with betting on upside to a degree, but it is the back end of the first round. So like, it's not like we're picking him within the top 10 picks or top 20 picks. I'm going to go with LT Overton, Joe. I think LT Overton has the upside to be that guy. 6 foot. Actually, he's not even as big as he's listed, but like 270 plus pounds. Yeah. He plays on the edge. He's got really good hip fluidity and bend for a guy his size, and he can reduce down and rush from the inside as well. So maybe you draft a player like that, and then later on you draft a pass rush specialist that can come in on third downs and let Overton move inside a little bit more exclusively. But I do like LT Overton as a upside pick here to the Detroit Lions.
Man, Bills are another team where there's like a lot of well-roundedness to their roster.
There is.
So that makes me wonder,
I mean, edge is another spot that could. I mean, they got Joey Bosa, but he's on the tail end.
Yeah. But I kind of wonder if having Rousseau and still having Epinesa is enough to turn them up.
Can I make a? Sorry, go ahead.
What? I was going to say they brought back Tre'Davious White is kind of like an indication to me that they don't love what they've got going on at corner.
Can I make a little bit of a sleeper pick for you? Sleeper pick, eventually. I think tight end could be in the cards. Dalton Kincaid has not been great.
Yeah, but there's no tight ends on the board that are worth. Oh, Claire's still on the board. I'm sadly not gonna go Claire. I'm gonna go DJ McKinney. I'm a big DJ McKinney fan. I've talked about why I'm very high on him. He's a little grabby, but I think that you already have established starter opposite of him in Benford. So then you throw into the mix here a rookie who's going to learn on the job and could potentially be a really solid pairing.
Okay. Baltimore Ravens, can you just hit all for me? I just want to see what the full board looks like here. I'm gonna go with Proctor. Ronnie Stanley got re-signed, but he has been very injured and he's been very inconsistent over the last few years. Roger Rosengard at right tackle, so you seemingly have your right tackle for the foreseeable future, but who knows what he's going to look like, and that could change the philosophy there. But inside at guard, too, they're projected to start Andrew Voorhees. I think that Caden Proctor could be a guy that could potentially just move inside the guard early on, and then you can find his long-term fits later on. So I'm going to take Caden Proctor. They also love their massive offensive linemen. I mean, you talk about some of the guys that have played for them. They love those huge guys up front. So Caden Proctor.
I'm debating going incredibly problematic by picking Dylan Theineman, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that.
You can join the Exciting Whites podcast.
Yeah. Like seriously. I know that they're not really comfortable with their cornerback situation, and they don't really love Keely Ringo out at corner. I'm kind of loosely toying with the thought of going Xavier Scott.
They have a slot though.
Well, right. Yeah, that's the problem. Well, it just depends on what they want DeJean to truly play. I don't love the corner board. Let's go with Damani Jackson. I think that's a really solid way to take a look at trying to settle that corner situation. He's a very gifted athlete. We've talked about how he's pretty reliable in coverage, so we're going to go with him. Ryan, any final thoughts before we close out?
I mean, I hate mock drafts. I changed my tune. I said I was excited, but it is a board, Joe, that is going to change so much from here until April. And if you are one of those people in the chat that are like, this is the worst mock draft of all time, or one of those people on Twitter that do that, brother, it is August. I am tired, man.
It's August.
I'm tired, but very interesting group. I think the quarterback conversation is one that's going to continue to just kind of drive a lot of it because, I mean, if you told me Garrett Nussmeier was the first quarterback off the board, I wouldn't be shocked. If you told me he was fourth, I wouldn't be shocked. Drew Aller is a little bit of the same conversation. Fernando Mendoza is a little bit of the same conversation. LaNorris Sellers is a little bit of the same conversation. So there's a couple position groups, quarterback included, that could end up looking so different come April. So very interested to see how this lasts as far as like kind of our ideology of the class as of today.
All right, folks, that's going to do it for us. Comment below if you think that we nailed your team's favorite pick. Hit that like button and subscribe. We'll talk to you later.